The opening scene features two young boys named Qin and Hu, who are orphaned due to the war and are sold as slaves to a small village. On their way to the village, they witness a heroic entry of one of the great generals named Qi, who is leading thousands of troops behind him. The boys are clearly captivated by the immense power he possesses. Upon reaching the village, an elderly man assigns the boys to labor tasks and provides them with only a modest stable for rest. Despite the harsh circumstances, they don't make any complaints and support each other in their work. As time goes by, their bond deepens, evolving into a profound friendship. They even share the same passion and dream of escaping their low status and becoming great generals, despite knowing that getting rid of the slavery class isn't easy at all. In order to pursue their dream, the boys spend their free time in the forest to practice their combat skills. They also make swords using wood in order to learn the sword handling techniques. Several years pass, and the two boys grow up, but they still continue their practice in the forest. It has turned them into remarkable fighters. One day, during their training session, General Cheng Wen-jun spots them. He seems to be impressed by Hu's swordsmanship and thinks of a plan. Later that day, upon returning home after gathering wood from the forest, the boys discover that General Cheng is waiting for them. It turns out that his purpose of visiting the village is to search for a great soldier who can serve the king, Qin Kingdom. Surprisingly, he has already picked the soldier, and it is none other than Hu. The latter is taken aback by this sudden development, and he wonders if it is the right time to depart. However, Qin, who is really happy for his best friend, encourages him to achieve his dream. He also promises that he will work harder and soon catch up to Hu. On that night, before parting ways, the two best friends have one last practice duel, pledging to reunite in the near future. Starting the following day, Qin begins to train more diligently in the forest as well as in the hillside, with an unwavering determination to enhance his fighting skill. After several months of hardcore training, his strength heightens to the point where he is able to shatter a boulder using his wooden sword. It's all in the wrist. One night, Qin is resting in his stable after his training when he hears a knock on his door. When he opens it, he shockingly finds a gravely wounded Hu. In his dying state, Hu talks about the turmoil within the kingdom. He reveals that the reigning king's younger brother, Saikyo, has actually hired some assassins to finish off the royal family. Before breathing his last, Hu hands Qin a map and urges him to go to the marked village, from which he can find a way to fulfill his dream. After learning all of this, Qin grabs Hu's sword and escapes the village just before the assassins arrive, reluctantly leaving his best friend's body behind. On the way, he comes across a group of local thugs who surround him and demand the valuable sword in his hand. Qin tells them to clear the way, as he doesn't want to get into an unnecessary fight. But when the thugs don't comply, he, with the help of his long intensive training, easily takes down every one of them. After running for several miles, Qin finally arrives at his destination, a small hut. Once inside, he is shocked to discover an individual bearing an uncanny resemblance to Hu. This leaves Qin perplexed, as he is unable to comprehend what is happening. The individual turns out to be none other than the king, Zhang, who had run away from the kingdom. Zhang reveals that General Cheng had intentionally brought Hu into the palace due to his striking similarity to the king. This ruse was intended to deceive the undercover officials who wanted to kill the king. Unfortunately, Hu was sacrificed for the cause. Meanwhile, back in the village, the assassins, led by General Saji, find the lifeless body of Hu. It only takes moments for the astute general to deduce the truth. The deceased individual is a decoy, while the true king is still alive. As a result, he issues orders to locate the king, dead or alive, as soon as possible. On the other hand, Qin is very furious at King Zhang after learning that his best friend died in his place and didn't even hide the body, which made the whole plan useless. But before he can exact his rage on him, they are suddenly attacked by an assassin sent by Prince Saikyo. Knowing that the assassins are the ones who killed Hu, Qin becomes even angrier and starts fighting with the enemy. Eventually, using his superior skills, he manages to kill the assassin. After this, he gets back to King Zhang and demands why he had to kill his best friend. In response, Zhang reveals that Hu bravely agreed to sacrifice his life in order to save the kingdom, despite knowing about the potential danger. Furthermore, Zhang also claims that he had to stay alive to prevent his younger brother from capturing the kingdom. If all the powers fell into Saikyo's hand, he would take no time to destroy the entire kingdom. King Zhang then asks Qin to unite forces and assist him in reclaiming the throne, saying it is the best way to honor Hu's sacrifice. In the next scene, we see Prince Saikyo, who is very angry to hear the news that his brother is still alive. His anger also extends to General Cheng, who hired a decoy to save Zhang's life. As a result, Prince Saikyo orders the capture of both Cheng and Zhang, demanding their heads as trophies. Amid their discussions, the formidable General Qi shows up in the palace and presents the severed head, claiming that it belongs to Chang. Impressed by this, the prince appoints him as the kingdom's new general, charging him with the mission of apprehending Zhang. Elsewhere, Zhang and Xin are walking through the forest when they are soon accompanied by a mountain tribe kid named Heliao Diao. Together, the trio makes their way through the mountain path. As they reach the bamboo forest, they are attacked by another assassin who uses poisoned darts and an axe as his weapons. Xin grabs his sword and bravely engages in a fierce battle against the adversary. After an immense fight, he manages to slash the enemy's head with his sword, but one of the poisoned darts seems to have hit his body, rendering him unconscious. Following this, Zhang and Heliao take him to an abandoned resort to help him recuperate. A while later, Xin regains his consciousness and has a brief conversation with Zhang. Before long, a group of soldiers arrive at the resort, led by none other than General Chang, who was previously assumed to have been killed. Here, it is revealed that the head Uki, presented to Prince Saikyo, was just a trick. Chang, who is still loyal towards the king, collaborates with him to devise a strategy for reclaiming the throne from Prince Saikyo's grasp. However, Zhang is hesitant to go into battle, as his men are severely outnumbered by Saikyo's army of 80,000 troops. Hearing this, Chang suggests seeking help from the mountain tribe, a former ally of the Zhang royal family that had been betrayed centuries ago. Chang points out that they can form a larger army alliance if the tribe agrees. This convinces Zhang, so all of them head towards the mountain tribal area. After a long and treacherous walk, they all arrive at the borderlands of the mountain tribe's territory. But before they can enter the place, they are captured by the soldiers of Mountain Tribe and brought forth to their chieftain named Yutanwa. Zhang extends apologies on behalf of their ancestors and implores the tribe's assistance in reclaiming his kingdom. The chieftain initially rejects the plea, citing the significant losses endured by the tribe due to the actions of Zhang's kingdom in the past. However, the king remains undeterred, and he explains the consequences if his brother claims the throne. Hearing all of this, Yutanwa is impressed by Zhang's dedication towards his kingdom, so she announces that the mountain tribe will be affiliated with the Zhang royalty once again. Having secured this alliance, King Zhang shares his plan to attack the royal forces from various directions. The next day, Zhang and his troops disguise themselves as members of the mountain tribe and advance towards the royal palace. When they reach it, Yutanwa engages Prince Saikyo's advisor, proposing an alliance with the prince. The advisor relays this information to Prince Saikyo, and after a brief discussion, they agree to establish the alliance. However, only 50 of the mountain tribes are allowed, for now, in order to carry out the further discussion. In the next scene, the group of 50 enters the kingdom and soon launches their attack on the enemies. Adhering to the devised plan, Zhang divides his forces into two factions, one group led by Xin and Chang, while the second group led by Yutanwa and himself. Xin's group uses the underground passageway to reach the throne room, while Zhang's group uses the main route. Although the evil prince has thousands of men at his disposal, they are of no match against the skilled king and the mountain tribes. On the other hand, Xin's group is intercepted by General Saji, who dispatches a giant executioner against them. Although the group initially struggles to overpower the giant, Xin eventually manages to kill him with the united group effort. After this, they break into the royal palace with the intent to assassinate Prince Saikyo. However, the prince remains seemingly unaffected, as he has several guards under his command. Saikyo summons one of his most potent generals, Saji, to eliminate the intruders. The latter gets to work and easily overpowers a portion of the mountain tribe's soldiers. Amidst this confrontation, Xin is challenged to a one-on-one duel against Saji, which he accepts without hesitation. A fierce sword fight then ensues between the two, with both of them showcasing their exceptional fighting skills. Over time, Saji gains the upper hand, delivering some powerful blows that inflict a lot of damage upon Xin. Nevertheless, our hero's memory of Hugh and belief in his own dreams pushes him to continue. With his never-giving-up attitude, he finally manages to stab Saji to death. After witnessing the losing battle, Saikyo's council attempts to flee, but Heliao stops him and gouges out his eye with a dart. In retaliation, the advisor stabs Heliao before he succumbs to the dart's poison. Fortunately, Heliao is safe thanks to her strong armor. Taking advantage of this distraction, Saikyo attempts to flee, but when he reaches outside, he is confronted by his brother and the entire mountain tribe army. Zhang, with a single mighty blow of the sword, swiftly overpowers Saikyo, and then subjects him to a series of punches as punishment. But despite everything that has happened, he ultimately chooses to spare his brother's life. A short while later, General Uki Uki, along with his forces, shows up in the courtyard and questions Zhang about the reason why he fought this intense battle. In reply, Zhang explains that he could not permit the abuse of royal authority by any traitors. Uki further inquires what he will do as king and warns that he will behead him if he does not provide a satisfactory answer. Zhang shares his determination to unite China under the Warring States era, even if it requires using force to secure peace in the future. The answer pleases Uki, and he forms an alliance with Zhang. He then orders the remaining forces under Saikyo's command to retreat. However, one of the steadfast generals, who is loyal to Saikyo, refuses to comply. He charges forward to attack Zhang instead. Seeing this, General Uki simply smiles before incapacitating the entire force in a single masterful move. In the final scene, Zhang ascends back to his throne, while Shin revels in the glory of making both his and Hugh's dreams come true. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.